good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you all are from. Glad to see so many people streaming in already. How are you doing, Marcus?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Recently spoke to a former colleague that is at the COP26 in Glasgow, and yeah, she mentioned that Klima has come up in conversation amongst VCM for more than once.
Yes.
But that's quite exciting to hear about.
I know we had at least one guy from Porini Network talking about us on stage in some panel.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think we have two advisors of Klima actually at the COP26 as well, and they've been spreading the word a bit amongst people also. So yeah, quite exciting. Well, I suppose we can kick things off then. Just looking at some of the stats. So it seems we are on the cusp of having 40,000 climates. That's amazing. Yeah, I just can't believe. I mean, it's not even a month. So to have that many people is truly awesome, and the growth rate is very steady, which is really cool. So that's great, and we also crossed over, I believe, 11 million tons of carbon that are now in the DeFi world, which is just another incredible milestone. Posted a few stats about that on my Twitter. So yeah, I mean, if this growth rate continues, I mean, well, if it accelerates just a little bit, we could potentially be hitting 25 million before the end of the year. I mean, that would just be incredible. Let's see what we can do there. And yeah, I don't have any like very specific updates. I've been speaking with some of the community and getting things going on treasury related items and things of that nature. But yeah, happy to start fielding questions. Although here's Archimedes, so Archimedes, if you have some things you'd like to say to everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome. And yeah, I guess I can just jump right in. We talked about policy yesterday with the policy team. So we're going to shift some weights around on the bonds this Friday. Brian is writing a blog post, or not a blog post, but an announcement that kind of outlines it. This is like a minor shift to basically move things towards BCT capacity, bond capacity, for a number of reasons, but like namely, the biggest one we need to start moving the BCT price up. The reason for this is we need to start onboarding more tonnage on chain. So Dionysus will talk this more than I can, but we all kind of understand that off chain there's like a ton of carbon that sits in the $7 to $9 range, and there's a lot of people very interested in Klima DAO. They're just waiting for the BCT price to kind of move past that. So hopefully by opening BCT bonds, we can pull some of the BCT out of the LP tokens and then slap them in there, and then also just basically move the price up a bit. Because basically what we want to avoid is we want to avoid having this like stable price of BCTs at $6. We want to start moving it upwards so we can start onboarding more tonnage. But that's fundamentally probably like the biggest thing that's coming up. I mean, there's a lot of like organizational stuff that's happening in the Discord. I know Spaghetti, Marcus, Jason, a bunch of other people are working on like department organization, all that jazz. So slowly but surely, I say that, and I realized yesterday they were not even a month old. So
A month is a year, right? So
yeah, it feels like an eternity. But yeah, it's very exciting. So that's like you'll see a couple things that are coming in the next few days. We got a Dharma link, which is pretty awesome. So we can like use it as an affiliate kind of link for everybody, and then all the links, all the rewards that we earn from the affiliate linking in Dharma go straight to the DAO. So like it's programmed to basically set up and pay out straight to us. And I've managed to get the Dharma people to pay us in BCTs. So we can just deposit it directly into our treasury and extend our runway, which is pretty awesome. So that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Ooh, update on where we are with the DAO organization, if you think that would help.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably best poised to answer that than I am.
Yeah, so as Archie was saying, we have Jason and Hugh, who are some operations people from Olympus that are helping us get the DAO structure set up in a way that will allow us to scale as rapidly as possible. So we're going, from a core team of about 12 to, I think we have about 100 contributors right now onboarded in the contributor server. So we're getting in place a formal onboarding procedure, and we're also drafting up a budget and appointing leaders, at least on an interim basis within each department. And that'll really allow us to start working on a lot more stuff in parallel once we get those contributors onboarded and budgets in place and whatnot. There was one
Awesome.
question from before the opt hour started that was raised, which is where do we stand with some partnerships? People were specifically interested in the partnerships with money markets like Cheetah and Rari. Do we have any update on those?
Yes, I can talk about this. So as we all know, time flies. But no, we talked about it at policy because like Rari wanted to do 9.9 Klima like from day one. Like they were asking us before we even launched. And naturally we were like, okay, well yes is the answer, but like we need to establish some sort of stable liquidity. And so now, if you look at the pools, as of yesterday, from when I looked, if you combine USDC, BCT, and BCT Klima, we're sitting at about $100 million of liquidity, which in 3 weeks has got to be some kind of record. But if you look at the weighting, it's 70% BCT Klima, 30% USDC, BCT. So slippage is much higher in the BCT one, which is good, which is like kind of, we were talking about this in policy yesterday, like you want slippage in the BCT USDC pool because you want that price to fluctuate and you want the BCT Klima one to be very, very stable. So it's kind of an interesting that, because basically like you want it so that when people purchase, they basically move the price. So anyway, long story short, yes is the answer to both like money markets. The Rari has a deployment on Polygon now, and they were asking us if we were ready yet. Policy, like internally, we were like, well, let's just wait till we're sitting at a month so we can like comfortably look at this. So probably like end of November, we'll probably have some sort of at least a date like when we should do it. I think like we're in a good spot. Like I think number one, let's do the policy bond weighting changes. Let's do those, execute those, wait a week, and then see where we're at, and then look at the next week of doing a deploy. But yeah, like that's coming. It's just we need to we need to just be a little bit older. That's all.
Absolutely. The other question that was raised was around what we plan to do with the treasury. Obviously, yeah, we're still very young, but I think people are curious, compared to other Olympus style protocols where the treasury is directly used to generate yield, how we will use the treasury to generate yield in Klima.
So two distinctions. Are we talking about the contract treasury, like the smart contract that holds all the BCT, or are we talking about the DAO multi-sig that takes the 10% fee from bonds?
Great question. I think that we might be able to get the guy who asked this up here to clarify.
Because I can tell you right now, we can't touch the treasury contract. Like we can issue debt against it, but we're way too early for that, right? Like it's too, we can't be doing that. We're still kind of like growing stuff. However, the DAO multi-sig with the 10% fees, that one is the one we can start using for whatever we want. And this is kind of where we've been asking Spaghetti and like all the ops guys in the internal to figure out we want to do. I'm looking at it right now. There's 3,190 Klima in it, which is about 5.1 million US. So we have money to do something with it. That one, yes, we can use that for whatever we want. Marketing, we can pay people. I think that's priority number one, is trying to figure out budgets for each department, and then so we can actually pay people properly. Because I've like learning from Olympus and like their struggles. There's like a lot of things kind of coming to surface now with them. Is that there's people weren't paid fairly, and like a lot of good people left, which is kind of frustrating because like you would want really technically intelligent people to stick around. So I don't want to repeat that mistake, and that's kind of been pushing from even from last week. I was like, we really need to make sure that all the people that are contributing are properly compensated, so that they stick around, but B, so that we have like long-term kind of commitments from these people, not just like everyone's staked and obviously has like a vested interest in seeing their own Klima kind of go up, but more like you have to value these people. Like Marcus is a great example. Like Marcus, you came from out of nowhere basically and just started wrangling the Discord with Chaz. And I would consider you like a very critical part of Klima DAO at this point. And so like we got to make sure that people like Marcus and other significant contributors, like Cujo is like a great example too. Big praise, like the entire dashboard he built, obviously using all the Olympus stuff and forking shadows, great work. But stuff like that. Like, we got to make sure that all these like 100 and some people that are in the Discord are properly compensated. So anyway. Long story short, that's like priority number one, and then after that we can kind of like once a department has a budget, let's say marketing has a budget of $20,000 a month, they can figure out how to spend it right on top of salaries. We can split it out, but like all the ops guys have got this figured out. So that's probably like what we're gonna spend it on.
Awesome. There's a question in the written chat. By the way, everybody, if you have questions, please raise your hand. We'd be happy to bring some people up on stage. There's one other question around the emissions schedule. I know that the policy team is discussing a draft, but I don't think we're ready to make that public yet.
Yes. So KIP 2 is going to be the one about security audits and like the bug bounty. So that one was written by Oxymoron. I think it's just circulating for like review internally, like everyone's looking at it. I don't remember where he posted it, which channel, but people were looking at that one. It's going to be KIP 2. KIP 3 is going to be the rewards reduction framework, exactly the same as OIP 18, but structured around kind of the scale of what we're building here. So that's probably coming like at the end of this month, if I'm going to guess. Like we have a draft of it, but like we need to nail down like exact like requirements. But like if we're looking at figures, for instance, like we almost doubled the Klima supply in 3 weeks. So we went from like 270 to like 430-ish thousand Klimas circulating, which means we'll hit 1 million like in the next 6 to 9 weeks. Which is if you kind of keep the same growth rate, which is crazy. I mean, that means like it's a great Christmas present for everybody. We hit 1 million Klima supply. But the so we obviously need to like introduce that, and like I almost hate to say this, but like OIP 18 was heavily contested, not contested, but like not even opposed, but people were just like very confused as to like why that was happening. They thought they were getting scammed. People were like, "Whoa, like, why are they reducing the rewards? Like that's crazy." Like, if you understand like how this works, like you have to make sure that this is stable. And anyway, so we will probably suffer the same thing. I'm predicting this now. The second that thing gets posted, there's going to be a zillions of questions of like, why are they doing this? Like, this is crazy. The reason is it's like it doesn't fundamentally change what's happening. Like, if you look at the reduction, even in Olympus, like they went from I think 21,000 APY to like 7. All it actually reduces in your compounding, it reduces it doesn't reduce it by a factor of 3. It just extends the time in which you have to compound for. Like that's kind of like what was misunderstood there. So naturally, we'll probably have the same question because, like, we have some very green and no pun intended people here who have never ever interacted with crypto or DeFi, let alone Olympus, or understood even half of what is happening here, which is fine, and that's kind of like really good in many ways. Like we basically helped a lot of people kind of make that leap. But naturally, this is going to be our biggest, probably most contested, not contested, but like discussed decision that's going to happen. And it's not even like a decision, like we just have to do it because like otherwise we're going to run out of runway very quickly. So anyway, but that's coming. That draft is done. I think we just need to like review it with policy, figure out. We looked at it yesterday, but like just need to nail down numbers and post it, and then throw it up on Snapshot after the security audit one goes up. But otherwise, I think those are like the two big things coming, and then obviously like there's lots of cool partnerships coming along. I spoke to Rainforest Alliance on Monday. Anyway, they're really interested in what we do. They really like if you don't know who Rainforest Alliance is, just look at a chocolate bar that you can buy anywhere in the world. That little green frog on there is Rainforest Alliance. So anyway, they fundamentally protect a lot of rainforest. They own land and they do sorts of conservation efforts. But they Klima DAO piqued their interest and they really wanted to think about how to work together. So we've kind of been, at the same time, Gitcoin has approached us and they want to do like a Web3 climate initiative that's coming out. Namely like Klima DAO being a big sponsor of it. So that might be a KIP that comes up to, like just to approve like a small like allocation of $40,000 to $100,000 in Klima for distribution. And basically it's going to be a bunch of Gitcoin sponsored grants that go up for building all sorts of Web3 climate stuff. So like, Toucans, for instance, they came out of like a grant program called Kernel, which is based off of Gitcoin. And as we know, it's been very successful. So it's there's going to be lots of opportunity for other people to build other things. Gitcoin's a great place to foster a lot of that stuff. I've witnessed all sorts of great projects come out of Gitcoin, like Parcel.money. I knew those guys really well. Those were pretty cool. QuickSwap, I watched when it was just two dudes who forked Uniswap and like were in way over their head for Polygon, which is pretty cool. So there's going to be that. So anyway, long story short, Rainforest Alliance, the way we kind of pitched it to them, talked about like working together, was they should sponsor that Gitcoin grant as well. So like it'll be us putting up a bunch of cash, them putting up a bunch of cash, and like obviously a longer term commitment with Rainforest Alliance, because what they want to do is they want to essentially tokenize or basically go through Vera certification of all of their forestry assets and then basically bring that on chain. So they're gonna like start going through that and kind of get those things in order, which is pretty cool. So it's those are two things, and then of course Ocean Drop, which is like coming up in December. It's an NFT drop from Open Earth Foundation. So the 12 core members, we all donated 500 tons to it, and there's going to be Sven from our very own IDO NFTs. He's doing an NFT there. And I'll say this here and no one else will know about it, but we also commissioned him to do one for us, like this Klima DAO, and then us 12 for donating that piece. So there's going to be one from us as well. Not as the DAO like per se, but like just like us 12. Like this is like people we've known for a long time. Like the Open Earth Foundation they were critical in terms of like accelerating the space. They're probably the first people to ever raise serious money for climate in Web3, which was earlier this year. They raised 6.6 million, which is pretty crazy. Trying to think of like other partnerships that are in the works. I mean, Marcus, you got anything I missed?
Those are the big ones. We do have some press coverage coming up. Cointelegraph is going to be writing an article about us.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I would say that, like in general, Klima is sort of really shown that yes, this DeFi space can really empower the carbon offset market, and there's a lot of project development partners that have been reaching out and wondering, how they can get involved to be able to bring their tons on chain and kind of develop this market out further and everything. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that in the next few weeks we have something really solid to talk about in regards to that, like where a project is basically, you could say, native to the blockchain space when it's fully developed. So I think what this is like, it's kind of the transition towards getting this whole marketplace eventually like in DeFi, right? Which is, as we know, kind of the more optimal solution in terms of transparency and tracking everything and just creating more liquid markets, which are necessary to deliver more finance to the carbon space.
Cool. Let's get some people up here. We don't have about 10 minutes left.
Thanks. Yeah, my question was just about, I think you said that it's way too early to even talk about using the treasury. But since the treasury, like I guess all the other DAOs, they're able to use that treasury to continue to build the treasury, which increases the runway internally. I guess, is there plans for that? How would that work with carbon tons? Because I guess we don't really want to sell them for other assets, but how can they be leveraged, I guess, would be my question.
Yeah, so there's a distinction. So there's the treasury contract, which holds all the tonnage, which backs all the Klima, and then there's the DAO multi-sig funds. That's the one that everybody uses. So Olympus does the same thing, right? They use that as well. They don't use the like contract funds because that needs to sit there to back all the treasury funds. Like there's technically like two treasuries. You can issue debt against it, but they don't do that yet, right? Like as far as I'm aware, they haven't done that.
I guess they don't put all their DAI into like Aave or something just to earn some percentage on that. Oh, interesting.
Yes, they do not do that. As far as I'm aware, the latest one, the most contentious one, which happened in the last 2 days, is the CVX. I don't know if you guys have been following that. There's a few DAOs basically vying for the control over the Curve ecosystem with the Convex token or whatever, CVX. Like they want to basically do something with it, and so then there's Mochi DAO, which came in and bought like a shitload, and then Tetranode got all over. It's a huge mess. Like basically, you can follow it on Twitter, but that's probably like the first attempt at like exercising control over another protocol or like benefiting from it. But I don't know. Like as you can see, it's not going well. So
right.
It's a good litmus test for what comes in the future. But yeah, like it remains to be seen. But like so to answer your question, we're already planning to use those multi-sig funds. So you can go look at it. Like it's the address is 0x65. Like you can see it when in like any bonding transaction that like 10% goes to this address, and there's 5.1 million sitting in it after 3 weeks. So we got cash.
Yeah, that's
we got cash.
I totally agree. Like using that cash to pay for developers and pay for people that are contributing. Obviously, you got to do that. Yeah, I guess I always thought Olympus would use all their cash, put it to work, rather than just sit on it. So I don't know.
I'm not privy to like the treasury management of Olympus, but I mean, as far as I understand it, they leave it for what it is, and then they basically use their own bonding mechanisms to incentivize other ecosystems. Because right now, like for instance, like they've like taken a stance that they're going to start taking much more ETH into the treasury, despite it having a risk-free value of 0. And then they're going to try and figure out a way to assign a risk-free value to it so they can mint against it. And I think that's like probably like the next thing that they are kind of working on.
Okay, cool. Well, that answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm trying to see how's the governance done with Klima.
snapshot, good sir. We only had one vote so far, which was the BCT naked bonds, which we did 6 days in. The next two you'll see KIP2 and KIP3. It's all on the snapshot ecosystem. So if you haven't seen that, if you haven't gone there, please go there. It's klimadao.eth and join it. There's only like 200 people signed up for it, so please do join.
Yeah, I did want to clarify one thing about the current snapshot because some people have been confused. There is a sort of rogue proposal up there right now. The snapshot for that was taken several weeks ago. So if you recently acquired Klima, you won't be able to vote on that one. And honestly, don't worry about it because it's not like an official proposal. And honestly, it's pretty poorly worded. So it would be very hard to actually implement. But yeah, please do go to Snapshot and connect your wallet so you're ready to vote when we do put those KIPs up.
Cool.
Let's see, take one or two more. Hey, Louis, I think you were up here first.
Hi guys, nice speaking to you. And I wanted to ask you a question. Why don't you guys put a roadmap on your website for investors to look at?
I think all I can say right now is we will. We just launched a few weeks ago, so all of our energy is really focused on that. Right now, we're in a position where there's a million things going on, and we're really trying to scale up the organization. So yeah, like even just assembling a team to put together a roadmap and get a handle on all the different things that are in flight right now is itself a work stream that we do want to do. But all I can say is please be patient. We will get a roadmap together. It'll probably be on our public Notion where we've shared a lot of other documents. So we'll be sure to post that publicly once it's available.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Terrence, you want to go ahead?
Hey, how's it going?
And
So I like brought this up already within like the DAO server, but since we're talking about governance and organizational stuff, has anyone taken a look at like the Commonwealth stuff or there was another option. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's like the intention to stay in like Discord and like Snapshot based like for governance, or are we gonna move somewhere else?
So, with us being on Polygon, it actually opens the door for on-chain governance much sooner. If you look at Olympus and like how they dealt with it, they have this new token called GOM, which is the governance one token, and we can just completely avoid that because gas is pretty much negligible on Polygon. So we're kind of looking at other on-chain governance systems that exist on Polygon and we can deploy. But for now, we'll stick with Snapshot and Discord until we have like a handle on a few things, and then yeah, I think we can transition to like a more formalized structure once we have kind of more structure.
Awesome.
It's like such a business answer. I hated that. But you know what I mean. Like once we're like not in panic mode because it's only 3 weeks old, then we can kind of like actually put some meat on the bones for actual governance and really think about how we want to govern the entire thing.
Gotcha. Thanks. Great work, guys. Cheers.
Should we take one more from Crypto Designer?
Hello.
Hello? Go ahead, we could hear you.
Crypto Designer, we could hear you before, but now you're muted. Well, hey, Milk Money, you got a quick one?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I know it's early on in the protocol's lifespan right now, but was curious on whether or not there was any thoughts about taking Klima possibly cross chain or creating a way to wrap Klima.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that possibility, but the problem with that is like you're diluting liquidity, right? And so like at this early stage, it's really critical that we maintain liquidity in one concentrated position for like the foreseeable future. Once we have like something reasonably deep, then we can probably kind of look at exploring other cross-chain solutions. Although not quite sure what the benefit for us is, especially
Is anyone
since.
there?
Oh, hey, crypto designer, we hear you. Yeah, I'm not sure what the benefit is in terms of moving cross-chain because like the carbon ecosystem is basically evolved on Polygon, right? So like the Toucan protocol exists only on Polygon. So if there's like other chains that have like developed carbon stuff that's like of significant size, then maybe we can look at it. But like for now, the only thing that's pretty big, and by big I mean like 10 million tons big, is on Polygon. Because even like people threw around the idea of like Moss.Earth. Moss.Earth has like 800,000 tons, so we're already 10 times that, which is kind of crazy because they've been around forever, right? And like Moss is like in my mind one of the OGs in the space of carbon climate, kind of. But
Hi guys. I'm just wondering whether you're accepting contributors at the moment. I'm a young graphic designer. I've just come out of my undergraduate degree, specialising in branding and marketing. I specialised in environmental commodities, and I love what you guys are doing at Klima. And I really want to contribute. At the moment, I'm freelancing, trying to find a job. So I'm just doing small projects from here and there. And I would really want to contribute to your project. I have really good marketing and design skills, and I have great ideas. Could you add me to like the contributors account? Because at the moment I don't have much work to do. So it'd be like really interesting to get involved in one of your projects.
Sure, man. Thank you for that. We definitely want to get as many contributors in there as we can. The problem we're having right now is we don't have a formal onboarding process and we don't have a budget in place. So I would say like feel free to ideate and post any cool stuff you come up with in the contribute or tribe chat channel here in the public Discord, and we will be opening up applications hopefully like next week. That's what I'm shooting for the DAO contributor server. I really appreciate your enthusiasm though, man. We'll get you in there, don't worry. Okay, I think I gotta go, guys. I don't know about you.
Yes, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, same.
Cool, wrap it there.
Yeah, we'll wrap it there. Thanks guys for coming, and we'll see you guys next week. And next week, I think, is it Thursday? Yeah, next Thursday we hit a month, 1 month old. So see, we'll look at like I think let's like draft up some numbers and like look at like a month in review and see where we're at and kind of consider all those things. But anyway, thanks guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks everybody. Bye bye.
Cheers.